So exactly 6 tourists, H, I, K, L, M, and N, are to be assigned to 4 guides, B, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we have our tourists who are X, I, K, L, M, and N, and they're going to be assigned to one of 4 guides. And our guides are, which I'm just going to write these on the side, which I might change this, how I have it set up, but I like to just put my pen on paper. So V, X, Y, and Z. Cool. Each tourist is assigned to exactly 1 guide, with at least 1 tourist assigned to each guide. Okay, so I'm actually going to change this already. So V, X, Y, and Z. And so what does that mean when it says that each tourist is assigned to only 1 guide and at least 1 tourist is assigned to each guide?
Interesting. That one kind of stumped me, but I assumed that it was.
So let's start with just the first half. Each tourist is assigned to exactly 1 guide. What does that mean?
So they have to, at least one of them have to be assigned to 1, basically.
Yeah,
So
like X can't go to 2 people. Like you're no time in here, no cheating. All right, and then what does with at least 1 tourist assigned to each guide? So what does that part mean?
So it can be more than 1 tourist per guide. I mean,
True.
1,
But what is with at least 1 assigned to each guide? Why is that important? What does at least 1 mean?
It could be more than 1.
Could be, but it means that there's going to be, sorry, I feel at least 1 under each of them, right?
Okay,
there's going to be none with 0. No, it's okay. I kind of asked the question funny. Okay. Oh, wow. So now we're getting even more. I don't think I've ever done this game before.
Yeah, it's a big.
All right. So V speaks only French. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just label this over here, I think. So V speaks only French. X speaks only T and Turkish and Spanish. Only. That's funny. Like, I feel like that's impressive.
Exactly.
So Turkish and Spanish. Y speaks only French and Turkish. And Z speaks only Spanish and Russian. Nice. All right. Each tourist speaks exactly 1 of the language spoken by his or her guide. Okay, so that's saying that each one of these people, whoever they go with, they have to speak the same language, like 1 of their languages. So if they're with Y, that means that they're going to speak French or Turkish.
Okay.
Right? Or if they're with V, that means that whoever's with V only can speak French.
Okay.
All right, so now we have our additional rules. So at least Harry and I are assigned to Y. Well, that's helpful.
Well, yeah. That one. Well, I have a question. If they're assigned to V, right? So that means that they only speak French, right?
If they were assigned to V, yes.
Okay.
But these people are assigned to Y, so we're going to assign X, H, and I to Y. So let's see why this is so important. All right, so we have H and Y here, and what I'm gonna put this up at the top now.
H and I. I think it's H and I.
I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. And we have I. And then what languages? I'm just gonna put this at the top for make it easier. So Y speaks F and T. So we know that H and I either speak F or T, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so then for rule number 2, at least L is assigned to Z. All right, so we know that L goes here. And what languages could L potentially, what language could L potentially speak?
Spanish and Russian, or Russian.
So I'm going to put Spanish or Russian. Okay. Now, what about this? If K is assigned to X, then Michael speaks French. So how did you diagram that one?
Yeah, let me see. That was the diagramming issue that I had there. So I basically put it at the top, just like as an if. So I put K above, under X.
Okay. So
And
let's
then,
say, okay, so if K is X,
then M would be French. So
and who potentially can he be with if he speaks French?
he could be with either V or Y.
Okay. All right. So how many spots do we for sure have left?
Two.
Two. Well, yeah, at least, well, yes. And so we have 3 variables.
Yeah.
And 2 spots, which we can put another spot anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's something that we're just going to have to pay attention to.
Okay.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So at this point, I would create worlds, which we talked about worlds a little bit last time, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Sure.
So worlds are whenever I create a scenario where I think that if I would place something that we don't know for sure where they go into like the spots it potentially could go, it would be really helpful to know that.
Okay.
So the trick to it, or the hard part of it, is you have to. So we start off with everything being the same.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you wish you could use a computer and it could be that easy on the test?
Yeah. It would be great, but
okay. So rule 1 and rule 2 are pretty easy. Like those are taken care of so far. So this one we get lucky where there's only one more rule that we can even base worlds off of. But what I want to do is how worlds work is where could K potentially go?
K would have to be.
So it's kind of a trick question.
Yeah.
So K is either going to go in X or K is not in X.
Okay, yeah. So K is, yeah.
So do you see how I just drew that on my worlds? Like, so these are the 2 scenarios that possibly can happen.
Okay.
So if K is in X, we know that M has to be with French. And so so who do we have left? We have M and N. So N is our floater. So I'm just going to go ahead and circle M. And so in this one, we know that M is either going to be with V or Y.
Yeah.
I'm just going to note this here. So if M is with Y, where does N go?
Goes with Y. And N goes with V?
Yeah, it has to, right? What about if M goes in V?
M goes in V.
Where does N go?
I'm not sure.
Anywhere. Well, there's no rules. It's a floater.
Okay.
That was a trick question.
Yeah, that was.
All right. So down below, we have not K and X. So K can go anywhere, right? So then who are our possibilities of going in X?
So we already did K, right? So K was already stated.
Yeah. Well, we just have here, this is a little bit tricky. We just have K not in X.
Okay, not in X. Okay. Then could N?
Yeah, it's going to be M or N. We don't know which one, or potentially both, but we know that one of those has to go there, and then K has to go somewhere else, and someone has to be in V.
Okay.
So this is a little bit tricky for us to pay attention to, but I feel like we will be able to determine a lot just based on these 2.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and move this up. So let's go ahead and we don't have a typical first question on this one. So we wouldn't answer our first question first. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our if questions first.
Okay, so you usually answer if first?
I normally answer the typical first question, like which of the following could be an accurate list. But
Okay.
this first one is not it's not
Yeah.
the typical first question.
Yeah.
So I typically do, yes, always do that after that typical first question, always do the if questions first.
Okay.
And that's just because they tend to be easier.
Mhm.
And then they help you do like the world, like what we call the world questions, or like which or each. They tend to help you do those later on.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with number 9. So if K and L speak the same language as each other, which of the following must be true? All right, so if K and L speak the same language of each other, where could that happen at? In world 1 or world 2?
World 2.
Yeah, because we have K somewhere else. So, and if this happens, then what we know that M or N, one has to go in X, right? And the other has to go in V. All right, but this is a must be true question. So let's go ahead and have you determine what this would be.
I think for which question is this that we're doing?
Number 9. So what must be true? So if K and L.
Yeah, for this one, I think it's B.
All right, at least 2 tourists speak Russian. So Russian is if there's Z. Oh, but do they both have to speak Russian? Oh, they speak the same language. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll speak Russian. Is that what the rule said? I should have paid attention to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
L is assigned to Z. So we don't know if L, like, so how do we know if L speaks Russian or if L speaks Spanish?
Oh. Wait.
Like, couldn't it be either of them?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's start with A. At least one of M or N speaks Spanish. Does that have to be true? So this is French, and X is Turkish or Spanish. So yeah, no, they don't, not one of them so at least Michael or Norman, not one of them has to speak Spanish, right? Because one could speak French and one could speak Turkish.
Not sure, yeah.
And so we know B is wrong then because they could both speak Spanish. Must it be true that K and L both speak Russian? I think that's wrong for the same reason, right?
Yeah, because it can also speak Spanish.
Yeah, and if for just like a gaming the test, like if B is right, C would also have to be right for the same reason.
Yeah.
At least 2 tourists speak French. Nope. Because we could have one, we have to have one French speaker here.
Yeah.
But H and I could both speak Turkish.
Yeah. So we wouldn't know.
All right, so it's not D. And then E says at least one of M or N speaks French. Does that have to be true?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because in the second scenario, M or N could be in B.
Yeah, one of them has to be. So there's going to be at least one person.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so what about 10? How would you go about doing number 10?
Okay, so 10 is if Laura and Norma speak the same language as each other, then the maximum number of tourists who could speak Turkish is.
All right, so what world will we be looking at here?
The second.
Okay, so yeah, so if L and N speak the same language, so, well, actually, couldn't L and N speak the same language in both of these?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to look at both of them. So let's put N in here in world number 1, and let's put it here in world number 2.
Okay.
And so in world number 1, if N goes in Z, what else happens in world number 1?
Then M goes in V.
Excellent. And then in world number 2, if N goes in Z, what else do we know?
Would K go in V?
Yep. And then what else do we know? One other thing.
And M would be in X.
Excellent. All right, so the maximum number of tourists who could speak Turkish is. All right, so we have to look at all of our ones where they speak Turkish.
Mhm.
And so it's honestly not going to change depending what world we look at.
Yeah.
But
We,
what's our number? What you come up with the answer and we'll check it.
2? Is it 2?
2 is the maximum that they can speak. So what letter lets us speak Turkish? What two
Oh,
or
sorry,
die?
I didn't see. Yeah. So it's 2. 5.
Okay, what okay, so can V speak Turkish?
No.
No. Can X?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's 1. And then can Y speak Turkish?
Yeah.
Yep, so here's 2.
Oh, so,
And then so 3, yeah. And it so like if for some reason like there happened to be like 2 down below, like maybe this one has 4, but we don't add them together. Like we just look at
I was counting the ones in green too by accident.
Yeah, no, you're good. All right, so yeah, 3. Excellent.
Okay, 3.
All right, so let's go on to number 11.
Okay, so if exactly 2 tourists are assigned to Xerxes, then which of the following could be true? Exactly 2 or
All right, so how would you go about starting this one?
Would we use scenario 1? Could we use that as a baseline?
So if exactly 2 tiers are assigned to X, why would we? Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, which world could there be 2 people in X? So can there be 2 people in X in world 1?
Not sure. I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's 2 there, then where do they have to go?
Let's see. So if K's there, then the rule for K is if K's with X, then M or N have to be French. Is that the rule? One of the rules?
Our rule is that if K is with X, then M has to speak French.
Okay. So
where could M go in this? Okay, so let's so we know that M could go with V or Y, right? But we need 2 people to go. So if M has to go with V or Y, who has to be our second person then in X? Because it can't be M, right?
No.
Sorry, I moved him over here so we'd have more space.
Okay. So H?
No, we have H and Y. Yep.
Yeah. So N?
Yeah, our floater, right? That's the only one that we don't have placed. And so if we put N there, where does M have to go?
We have to go under V.
Excellent. All right, so now in world 2, if we have 2 people under X, who do they have to be?
Go ahead. It has to be K and M or N, but we can't put K under there, right?
Right, because what is that world based on?
It's based on K not being there.
Yes. So who do our 2 people have to be?
K
You
and
already
N.
said it. Yep, M and N. And so then where does K have to go?
K would have to be under V.
Awesome. All right, so then which of the following could be true? So let's go ahead and start with A and tell me love it, leave it, or hate it.
No.
Norman speaks Russian. Yeah, Norman can never speak Russian. Awesome.
No.
Excellent, because Norman has to speak Turkish or Spanish. Or Norma, sorry.
French. No.
No. Yeah, Norma can't speak French. She has to speak Turkish or Russian. All right, what about D?
Michael's Spanish. No.
Yes, why not?
Because Michael can't be with K.
Yeah, okay, so what world does Michael speak Spanish in?
2.
Yes, and what language does Klaus speak into?
French.
Excellent. Okay.
That's the E. Michael speaks French and Klaus speaks Spanish.
Yep, and what world is that happening in?
The first.
Perfect. All right, so now let's go back to our other questions. All right, so each of the following could be true except.
Klaus and Harry speak Turkish. That's it. Klaus and Michael speak French.
So if it could happen, we want to cross it off. So let's start with A.
Mm-hmm.
Could K and H both speak Turkish?
That could be a possibility.
Yep, so let's cross that one off.
Yeah.
All right, what about B?
Klaus and Michael speak French. I don't think that can happen.
All right, so can Klaus, where could Klaus ever speak French?
I don't think so.
Not in World 1, but
yeah, not in World 1, but yeah, in World 2 he can.
Yeah, like maybe Klaus could go here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then could Michael ever speak French in this one?
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah, because Michael could go here, or Michael could go here, and then N would just be an X.
Okay.
So that one works. All right, what about C?
Klaus and Michael speak Russian.
So what world are we looking for if Klaus is speaking Russian?
It would be 2.
All right. So if we put Klaus here, can we ever have Michael speaking Russian? Where would Michael have to go to speak Russian?
Speak Russian would be under Z.
So if we put Michael here, that would mean N has to go here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then what's our problem?
We're missing something for V.
Yeah, so can this one ever happen?
No.
No, so I'm guessing this is our answer, but let's try the other ones.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see, which one are we left off at? Both Klaus and Norma speak French. No.
Right? Because if we
Yeah.
put Klaus here
Mhm.
and Norman speak French, yeah, we already went over this. Like it could be here and then it's just Yep, excellent. So we're crossing this one off. And then what about E?
Both Klaus and Norma speak Spanish. No.
Okay, and which one would that could that happen in?
It could happen in one.
Yeah, because Klaus could speak Spanish here. We could put N right here, and then that just means M is going here.
Okay.
All right. All right, let's go on to 7. Which of the following must be true?
Okay. Which one of them must be true? She does have less than 3, but
So let's start with A.
yeah.
So can Z ever have 3 or more?
No.
I'm trying to think of what one that could even, yeah, because
Yeah. No.
if we go here 1, 2, 3, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Excellent. So that one on the test, that's one where I probably would select and move on if I was that sure.
Yeah.
But could all the other ones be true? Like X is assigned fewer than 2. So could X have 3? Or fewer than 2. So just could X have 2? We already determined X could have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Y is assigned exactly 2 of the truest. No, because Y could have 3, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. D says V is assigned exactly 1 of the truest. So could V have 2?
Yeah.
Yep, it could have, like in this one, it could have M and N in 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then E, Z is assigned exactly 1. Could Z have 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put N there and have M and V. Awesome. And so that's why our answer is A. And then lastly, question number 8. All right, so each of the following could be true except, so if it could happen, we get to cross it off.
Okay. Assigns Klaus to Valois and Michael to Xerxes. That could happen.
Yeah, because so what world would we be talking about?
2.
Yep. So if K goes here, could M go here? Absolutely.
That could happen too.
All right. What world?
In 2.
All right. So if K goes to Y and N goes to Z, what happens?
Actually, we're going to be missing one.
Yeah, because this is so X is going to have to be M, and then we don't have anybody going in V.
Okay, so then it's B.
Yep, but let's check out the other ones.
Laura to Z and M to Z. Yeah, that can work.
Yep.
We'll still have enough to fill out the other ones.
Yeah, because if M goes to Z, then that would mean N goes to X and K goes to V.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about D?
It assigns Michael to Valois and Klaus to Z. Yeah, that would work because you still have N.
M, K, and then N. Excellent. All right, and then what about E?
With Michael to Xerxes and Klaus to Z. Yeah, because you'll still have N left over in that
A to
case.
Z, and then we'll put N here. Awesome.
Okay.
Was that smoother than the first time you did it?
Yeah, actually, that was smoother because